All right, it's Reasonable Reviewer, and I want to do a review today of the game Trails. It's a parks game by Keymaster Games. It's for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, and they say it takes 20 to 40 minutes, and that's actually about right. So each player will have this little meeple, and then they will also have a canteen that they are assigned to them, and everybody puts their meeple on the starting position here. These tiles in the middle are shuffled, and they can be actually in any order. And then once you put them out, corresponding to the leaf, the acorn, and the stone, you put these little resource tokens down below them. There's 2 decks of cards that we're going to have. One is the photograph card. It looks like a little photograph, and these photographs are worth different amounts of points, and birds. The birds become important at the end because one of the badges you can get has to do with the birds. And then, speaking of that, the way you get points in this game is through accumulating badges, like a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout. And in fact, at the very beginning of it, you're going to place 2 badges at both the front and the trailhead and at the end. And these are kind of, everybody has a chance at these. And then everybody also has a secret card that only they know about. So for example, in this particular case, you would have to get 5 acorns to claim this badge, which is the climber badge, and worth 6 points. Actually, it's worth quite a few points. So as these, throughout the game, as people gather the badges, you replenish them. So if you use your secret badge, you get that. All right, and on the start and end cards, it'll say what side it's showing based on the number of players. If you have 2 or 3, this is the side you show. If you have 4 players, you show this side. The sun is going to start off here at the trail end, and the bear is going to start where the bear is, and that's going to be at this particular location. Each person, again, everybody starts off at the trailhead, and you can move 1 or 2 spots on your turn, again with the idea that you're trying to accumulate resources. So if you've got the 5 acorn thing, guess what? You're going to want to move as quick as you can to get the acorn turn. You may, either on the way out or the way back, you can expend your canteen. This shows it empty. It's got the little water symbol down there at the bottom, and that's move all the way to one end or the other. But you can only refill your canteen when you get here. What else is there to it? As each person gets to that other end, notice it has this little symbol here that shows the sun. When you get there, you're able to take advantage of wherever the sun's at. So in this particular case, the first one, you would get a rock as a resource. Then the sun moves here. The next person there would get an acorn as a resource. Next person would get a leaf. And then it goes by whatever terrain it's over the top of. So the fourth person to do it would get a rock, at an acorn, leaf, be able to trade resources. And then when you get to this end of it, you'd get to move the bear, and then the game is over basically at that point. So one thing to mention as well. So once the leaf, I apologize, once you get past the leaf, the sun is setting. So as you go through these things, as it reaches each one of these, this one lets you grab 2 pictures, for example. Now you get to grab 2 acorns, 2 leaves. It lets you exchange 1 resource for 2 of another kind. You get to move the bear, and then the final thing, whoever does the last thing, would get to take 2 photographs. So if you land on a space that has the bear on it, so in this case, It'd be the first person who gets back to the trailhead, because that's where the bear starts off. You roll this location die, and depending on what it says, so in this particular case, you would move the bear to that spot, and then you would also get to, in the base rules, you would get to take advantage of wherever the bear moves. So you get to do whatever the sun says, you get to do whatever you do when you land on the space, or you can do what the bear says. Now, I'm going to be honest. So the way the game is structured, it's kind of a relatively simple resource accumulation game. If you think of like a Euro game context, it kind of really has kind of sort of nothing to do with parks. I mean, these could be anything, right? These could be a steel mill, it could be an inner city block, it could be mining. It's just kind of random that it's the things that it is. So, overall, when we played it, we thought it was fine. The rules are relatively straightforward. It is pretty quick. Depending on the playing group, if you have a group that's used to playing Euro games and doing resource games, you're going to find out that you're closer to 40 minutes. If you have a group that just kind of doesn't care about that, then it'll be closer to 20. What we did, though, and we'll probably rot in perdition for this, is we made a rule with the bear that rather than the bear giving you access to resource, so let's say you're this person and you got your buddies spread out over the rest of the map. So if you send the bear to that location, this was just a house rule. Then we said that during the day, that person had to lose one resource of their choice, and at night, scary bear, dropped it, run away. No, we didn't have the bear maul anybody, so to be clear. But then we said you had to drop 2 resources if the bear lands on you at night. That actually, I think, rejuvenated everybody's interest in the game, and now they like to play it because of the bear rule. Again, that's not the original rules, but we found it to be more interesting because as it is now, depending on what you end up, it's very luck dependent. If you end up with a secret card that's worth a lot of points, then you can just kind of do that and not be bothered whatsoever and be your own bear, no pun intended. This made it more interesting because it allowed you to be more interactive with other people. So if you had the bear rule, I would give it 5 stars, but as written, I give it 4. Again, it's okay, but it's not something that it's probably not going to be a game that people are going to be clamoring to play every time we get together. So overall, good game, good solid mechanics, good solid family game, 4 stars.